There are certain moves in chess that speak not to strategy, but to philosophy. Moves that break not just the rules of chess, but the rules of thought itself. Moves that whisper, "Yes, I know what you're supposed to do, but I choose not to." One of those moves, perhaps the move, is on the second move for white, King E2. The Bongcloud. Not a name you'd expect from something worthy of deep reflection. It sounds like a joke, a meme, a Reddit thread gone rogue. But what lies beneath the absurdity of the Bongcloud is something ancient, almost spiritual. A move that mocks the rigidity of convention, while channeling the raw power of the human soul. This is not a story about yellow, or meta, or theory. This is a story about the defiance of fate, the sacredness of choice, and what it truly means to be alive in a deterministic world. Let us begin. In the philosophical tradition of Albert Camus and Soren Kierkegaard, the absurd is not merely something ridiculous. It's the collision between the human desire for meaning and the cold indifference of the universe. Camus called life an absurd condition. We seek purpose, order, direction, but the universe gives us none. So we're left with a choice: to despair or to revolt. The Bongcloud is revolt. It is not the best move. It is not objectively sound, but it is chosen with full awareness of its implications. It's like Camus' Sisyphus, a man condemned to push a boulder up a hill for eternity, only for it to roll back down each time. Camus insists we must imagine Sisyphus happy, not because his task is logical, but because it is his, and he persists. Likewise, the Bongcloud player knows the odds, knows the mockery, knows the engines will sneer, and yet they play it anyway. This is not ignorance. This is absurd faith, in the way Kierkegaard spoke of Abraham, lifting the knife above Isaac, not with logic, but with trembling belief. The Bongcloud is a leap of faith into chaos. It is irrational on purpose, and that's the point. Let us look at the king, not as a chess piece, but as a spiritual symbol. In Judeo-Christian tradition, the king is not merely a ruler. He is chosen. King David, the flawed yet beloved psalmist. King Solomon, the seeker of wisdom. And above all, Christ, crowned not with gold, but thorns. To move the king on the second move, to bring him out into the open, naked and afraid, is to embody the suffering servant archetype. It is kenosis, the Greek theological term meaning self-emptying. In the Gospel of Philippians, it says Christ made himself nothing, taking the form of a servant. That is the Bongcloud king. He does not wait for castling. He does not hide. He steps forward, exposed, first among the broken. It's not a power move. It's a sacrifice. The Bongcloud king is everyman, vulnerable, doubted, mocked, yet moving forward with purpose. Even in Hinduism, the god Krishna reveals himself on the battlefield of the Bhagavad Gita, not as a distant deity, but as Arjuna's charioteer. The Bongcloud king is that charioteer. He places himself in the fray, divine but mortal, and so, in a deeply spiritual sense, the Bongcloud is the story of the soul walking into battle, not to win with ease, but to suffer with honor. In an age of stockfish, AlphaZero, and neural networks that crush grandmasters, what meaning is there left in human chess? The Bongcloud answers, everything. Engines evaluate. Humans choose. A computer will never willingly play King E2 on move 2. It has no ego, no faith, no humor, no capacity for symbolic rebellion. It obeys the laws of optimization. But you are not an engine. You can look into the void of theory and still do the unthinkable. You can reject the optimal, not because you're blind, but because you see. This is the essence of willpower, not brute strength, but conscious deviation. Like Nietzsche's Übermensch, you transcend herd morality. You say, yes, I could follow the rules, but I choose a higher path, one defined by meaning, not results. Even in failure, the Bongcloud becomes an act of art. Like Van Gogh, painting in agony. Like Beethoven, deaf and broken, composing symphonies. The Bongcloud says, I am not my rating. I am my intent. In nearly every culture, the fool holds a sacred place. In tarot, the fool is card 0, the beginning of the journey, stepping into the unknown. In Russian Orthodoxy, the Eurodivi, holy fools, were seen as closer to God because of their madness. In Zen Buddhism, the master often acts absurdly to snap the student into awareness, slapping them, laughing, pouring tea until it overflows. This is the Bongcloud. The move King E2 is the tea that spills. It is the fool stepping off the cliff, not because he's dumb, but because he knows something you don't. It's easy to laugh, to say, that's not how you play chess. But sometimes, the joke is on the world. Think of the Joker in The Dark Knight. I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve. The Bongcloud laughs not because it is meaningless, but because it sees the deeper game beneath the surface. The Bongcloud is not confined to the chessboard. We see it everywhere in history. Those willing to make absurd, courageous choices in the face of overwhelming odds. Rosa Parks, a tired woman on a bus, refusing to stand. A Bongcloud move in the game of segregation. Galileo, pointing a telescope at the heavens, whispering, and yet it moves. A Bongcloud of cosmic proportions. Elon Musk, sinking billions into reusable rockets while investors scoffed. A Bongcloud of propulsion. Anthony Bourdain, traveling the world, sharing meals with strangers, in search of beauty in the broken. A Bongcloud of cuisine. These people did not play by the book. They wrote new ones. They exposed themselves, took the hit, laughed at the critics, and in doing so, became immortal. Why do we suffer? Why choose a path that leads to hardship? Because beauty lies in the fight, not the outcome. The Bongcloud is beautiful because it is doomed, just like Hamlet, or Joan of Arc, or every unsent love letter that still sits in your drawer. To suffer, and yet to move forward, is to live. If you castle early, maybe you win. But what do you learn? If you avoid risk, maybe you're safe. But are you free? The Bongcloud says, I'd rather lose on my own terms than win on someone else's. That is freedom. In the end, we return to the beginning. E4, King E2. Two moves. One speaks to tradition, the other, rebellion. You do not play the Bongcloud to win. You play it to mean something, to tell your opponent, the world, and perhaps even God, I am here. I choose this path, and no matter the outcome, I moved forward. Play boldly, lose gloriously, and never, ever castle.